killed by the white man just like the dark man. White men never had Indian slaves because we couldn't survive the diseases. And we could always run away and find our way back to our people. But mostly we would rather die than live as slaves. And many of the runaway slaves told us they felt the same way.
Belong to my great Aunt Catherine. Oh, wow. It fits.
Ever since I was a little girl, hey, I wanted to be a ballerina. You see, Mama, she worked at the New York City Ballet as a cleaning lady. And on Saturdays, I got to ride the train with Mama to watch the ballerinas. They're so beautiful. And performance nights, we got to sit in the balcony and watch the whole show. Sometimes I went backstage and I'd put on my own show for the ballerinas. I told Mama that I was going to be a ballerina. She didn't believe me at first, but that didn't stop me. And then one day, Mama came home and she said they were starting a beginner's class for girls. I got so excited I did a leap in the air and I almost threw up my whole dinner. I remember the day that Mama took me down to audition for the class. I was all dressed up in my brand new outfit. You see, Mama, she spent a whole paycheck buying me a pink leotard tights and new ballet slippers. She also made me this pink satin cape with a hood that I wore over my lucky dance clothes. Now, we got down there early to make sure to get on the list. But all the little white girls, they kept pushing in front of me, and the people kept letting them. Well, I started to get mad, but Mama, she said, now just be patient, darling. Well, after all the little white girls were inside, and Mama went to sign me up, that white lady, she snatched a pin out of Mama's hand. And she said there were no more spaces. She said the audition was full. Well, I started bawling, and Mama, she pleaded with that lady. But they turned us away. I ran from Mama to the street. I almost got hit by a car, but I didn't care. Mama ran after me. I think she was crying, too. When they told us there were no more spaces, I don't know who hurt more, me or Mama. And we knew it was a lie because they kept letting the little white girls in, even after they turned us away. Well, Mama, she decided to quit her job. She said she didn't need a job that bad, and I was going to give up ballet, too. I changed my mind. I kept practicing and practicing, and up, baby, up. And Mama, she found this nice Russian lady, Miss Gary. She agreed to give me private dance lessons in exchange for Mama cleaning her house. I used to hate to see Mama on her hands and knees scrubbing Mr. Gary's floor. But then on my 17th birthday, Mama took her little rent money and her savings, and she bought me the most beautiful pair of satin toe shoes I'd ever seen. And it was then I decided I was going to pay Mama back. I was going to make her proud of me. That very day, I packed my suitcases, I hugged Mama goodbye, and I set off for Harlem to be a professional dancer. A prima ballerina at the New York City Ballet. But I didn't tell Mama that. I couldn't. See, she made me promise never to go near that place again. She said, them people are prejudiced, and prejudice is evil. So I headed off to Harlem with my toe shoes. I arrived in Harlem on a Sunday afternoon, and I went straight to a rooming house run by a West Indian lady named Mrs. Hawkins. Mama, she said, West Indian people, they're very nosy. They think they're better than us. But Miss Hawkins, she seems really nice. And she's especially interested when I tell her I'm a dancer.
Oh, well, now, you the right color for them to hide in the nightclubs up in Harlem. They only hire the girls who are high yellow or tan, you know. They turned my daughter Layla away because they say she's too dark.
Yeah. You know that Miss Hawkins kept telling me color does not matter.
No, it don't matter because, you know, for you got the pretty hair, the pretty skin, you know.
Well, the first thing Monday morning, I went down to the New York City Ballet because they're holding the auditions for the new company. And when I stood over there and I watched all those white people going in there, I remember that day Mama tried to register for me for that class. And I started to get mad. I went to the nearest Five and Dime and I bought myself a bottle of peroxide. I went back to that rooming house and I dyed my hair and my eyebrows blonde. Well, if it's white that they want, it's white they'll get. I was so nervous when I went in there to audition. And I remembered all those sacrifices Mama made for me. And I went in there and I danced like a woman possessed. And after my audition, the artistic director, well, he pulled me aside and asked who I'd studied with. And when I told him Mr. Gary, he smiled. And he asked me to show up for rehearsals the next day. Ah! I got so excited, I wanted to jump in the air, but I managed to say thank you, and I almost walked in the wall on my way out. And then it seemed the more I tried to avoid that Miss Hawkins, the more she tried to corner me. Always asking me questions and questions.
When do you be going every day with your pretty hair all covered up like that? What you be doing?
Well, finally I told her, I'm becoming a Muslim. Just to get her to leave me alone. Then after months and months and months of rehearsals, the day of my debut performance was finally here. That night I would take my place on stage. I waited my whole life for this moment. I felt guilty though because I didn't tell Mama. She'd be so proud of me. Or would she be ashamed? You see, Mama, she said I could be anything I wanted, and I wanted to be a ballerina. And then a couple of hours before curtain, well, I got called to the artistic director's office. I smiled as I strolled down the long corridor that led to his office, imagining he'd asked me to dance a solo dance routine we've been working on. Instead, when I got there, I opened the door and I saw Miss Hawkins. I looked at the artistic director and he's frowning. Miss Hawkins, she just lowered her eyes. I walked out of there and I just started running and running and running. And that night, as I lay across my bed, my eyes swollen from crying, I reached up in the medicine cabinet and I got a bottle of aspirin and I got a glass of water. And right when I was about to put myself out of my misery, there's a knock at the door. I hid those pills and I went to the door and there was a woman who looked very much like Mama and her little daughter. Her daughter, she heard that I was a ballerina and she wanted to meet me. And I showed her a couple moves. She was young and very eager. That was 1926. Yeah, 1926. And for 40 years, Negro children, they came from all over to study ballet with me. My company was written up in the paper, and I even had my picture in every new magazine. So many of our children are very, very talented. You know, I had this one boy in my class. That boy, ooh, he was something special.
Arthur Mitchell, first Negro to dance in classical ballet. The New York City Ballet Company signed 24-year-old Negro dancer Arthur Mitchell today. Wow. Who would have known it would take till 1958 for classical ballet to become integrated? How do you work this thing? Okay, I think you're supposed to turn this thing. A day makes 24 little hours. And the flowers. Oh, dear Eddie, as you know, I've been working as a personal secretary and traveling companion for Miss Dinah Washington for the past 14 years. Well,
although I have a tremendous amount of respect for her talent and the accomplishments she's made, I really can't go on in her employ.
To Mavis, you're the best. Love, Dinah. So that's what she looked like. Girl, if those animal rights activists could see you sporting those foxtail fur. Why is she dressed like a man? Must be a costume party.
Time out for tears. My heart is longing for you all through the years. Darling, now that we're through. Dinah was the first Negro star that started her own booking agency and controlled all her own tours. She even handled bookings for other entertainers. This past year, something's happened to her. You know, it's funny. Dinah's such a smart woman, yet she can't see what she's doing to herself. She seems to be drinking more and letting herself go. Her temper's so bad and her mouth is so vulgar. I'm embarrassed to be seen with her. I think the problem is that the pain runs so deep that no amount of whiskey or high living can keep it from haunting her. She can't seem to face the fact that she just isn't a headliner anymore. This is a funny business. People forget who you are overnight. She keeps telling me she had 25 hit records in a row. But a hit record in 1952 ain't the same as a hit record in 1962. I want to stay with her, but the bookings just aren't coming in. And she keeps getting worse and worse. I even tried writing to Lionel Hampton to see if he could talk to her. You know, Lionel claims he's the one that discovered Dinah. So he tried to talk to her. But she cursed him out. You know, her name used to be Ruth Jones. And Lionel says that she was a washroom attendant in a club back in Chicago. She came out and sang with him during a band break. He named her Dinah Washington and took her on the road with him. That was in 1943. They say she started modern day soul music, took gospel and blues and gave it a twist. Dinah recorded over 300 songs. She can play every instrument herself, so she's hell on the band. But the musicians love her, and she loves them. As a matter of fact, she married quite a few of them. You know, Dinah's one of the few vocalists to have perfect pitch. Does all her records in one take. When I first came to work for Dinah, she was in all her glory as the queen of the blues. We traveled all over the country, wore fancy clothes, lived a good life. Dinah's generous to a fault. She's always helping a new singer get started or lending someone some money. That's why she's always broke. But I love to hear Dinah talk about the old days. She knew Sam Cooke, Ray Charles, and Eartha Kitt. All the big stars, when they were still wet behind the ears. She was the big star. But somehow, history seems to have forgotten her. She can't understand why. One day, Dinah came and asked me straight out why I never went out with men. God knows there were plenty of them after me. I thought I hid it so well. But Dinah figured out I preferred the company of women. Well, now, Eddie, I don't mean to scare you, but I've been like this my whole life. I knew ever since we were little girls. You know how I used to like to hold hands and sleep over with the other little girls? Well, I didn't grow out of it. Bethune Cookman. I roomed with another girl. And well, even though we had single beds, we only used one. I used to feel real guilty and dirty. That's why I never said anything. One day, one of the other girls told on us, and we got put out of school.
When Mama and Daddy came to get me, they were so disgusted, they just put me on a train to Chicago to stay with Daddy's side of the family.
After that, I stayed to myself. I didn't think you could tell something like that just by looking at a person. Oh, but Dinah said she could tell. Anyway, Dinah told me to stop acting phony. And whenever we went out, she told me to bring Lula. That's my woman friend's name. And Dinah started going downhill. Lula and me started fighting. I was catching hell at work and at home, too. Finally, Lula told me to choose between Dinah and her. I guess I took too long. because she packed her bags and left me yesterday. I hate ultimatums. But in this case, she couldn't stand to see what was happening to me. I guess if I can't save Dinah, I should try and save myself.
Your sister, Mavis. Wow, I didn't know she recorded that. That was way before Nat King Cole. Unforgettable. That's what you are. Unforgettable. Only enough. Oh, Cousin Peg. Dear, dear Cousin Peg. Stokely Carmichael? What is his picture doing in here? Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, summer 1964. Dear Grandma,
Thank you for sending the 150 I needed to register for the Mississippi Summer Project. I know it's a lot for you to part with, but I can't ask Mommy and Daddy. They just don't understand. I know it's costing them a lot of money to send me to Sarah Lawrence, and, well, I do appreciate it. It's just that, well, I can't stand all of the conversation about cashmere sweaters and cultured pearls. I mean, there are people, my people, being killed for trying to vote. And it isn't the 1800s, it's 1964, for Christ's sake.
So you see, Grandma,
I had to come and do something about this.
today,
We arrived at the home of a woman named Fannie Lou Hamer. Oh, she's the kind of black woman that I've always been ashamed of. The stereotypical mammy. Oh, but there's nothing stereotypical about Mrs. Hamer. Oh, she is strong and brave and sharp as a tack. Mrs. Hamer was fired from her job of 18 years for registering to vote. And she was thrown in jail and beaten just for educating her people on their right to vote. It is almost 100 years since the Emancipation Proclamation, and slavery is far from over. And I was scared while we were at the training session at the Women's College in Oxford, Ohio. But since coming to Mrs. Hamer's house and listening to her speak, oh, I know I made the right decision. Oh, and this woman, she knows more songs than the whole family put together. I mean, we sing so much, I get hoarse. Oh, and at night, I like to just sit out on the porch and just listen to Mrs. Hamer tell her stories. This is a woman who had seen some things, as she would say. And the people here, they're so kind to us. I mean, they have so little, and yet they're willing to share even their last swallow of milk. And the children? Well, some of the children are so hungry that they eat the lining out of the walls, and they have one item of clothing that they wear day after day, and no shoes. Please, send whatever you can for them. I know I'm supposed to be here. There is a reason. Black people in Mississippi are going to vote. I promise you that.
pray for me. Love, Peg. Dear Mrs. Jones, you granddaughter Peg give me you address. She say you a kind and generous woman. We in a deep struggle here in Mississippi. What little I have, I shares with the volunteers. What I'm writing to you for today is that I need some personal things. I wear a size 44 bar and extra large girdle. I hope you don't mind me asking you for these things. God bless you. Fannie Lou Hamer. Dear Mrs. Jones, thank you so much for the beautiful things you sent. You is one true woman of God. I wears the dresses and underthings. They fit me real good. Mostly, I thank you for you prayers. Peg is a right good girl, and I'll look after her. I promise. God bless you, Fannie Lou. Dear Grandma,
I can't begin to tell you what an incredible summer I had. I mean, we registered over 80,000 new voters. I know you probably heard about the missing volunteers. And I actually knew one of them. It was so unfair. Why did they have to die? I can't understand why white people are so hateful. Well, not all white people are bad. You see, I had a chance to work alongside of some white kids that were from rich families. And they came all the way to Mississippi to show the world that they thought it was wrong to deny us our rights. Anyway, I have something to tell you, and I hope you won't be too mad at me. But I'm going to leave school. Well, you see, well, I met this boy over the summer, and his name is Neil Steinberg. He's Jewish. Neil's a pre-med at Harvard. Did you know that Harvard had a quota for Jewish students? I mean, they don't want the Jews no more than they want us. Anyway, Neil and I are very much in love. I don't know an easy way to tell you this, but I'm pregnant, and I haven't told Mommy and Daddy yet, but Neil already told his parents. Neil's father's a jazz musician, and his mom's a lawyer for the ACLU. Can you believe it? Anyway, they said that I can come and live with them until baby is born. Well, I know we should have waited. But Neil says that he wants me and this baby more than anything. And if we have a girl, God, if we have a girl, we're gonna name her Edwina Fannie Lou Steinberg. I hate to disappoint Mommy and Daddy, but I didn't like college. But now, I'm really happy.
Love you, Peg. September 21st, 1964. September 22nd, 1964. Co-ed survives Mississippi, but not drunk driving. Peggy Williams, a sophomore at Sarah Lawrence College, was killed instantly when a drunk driver flipped over the divider and hit her car head on. Oh, dear, dear cousin Peg. Why did God have to take you so soon?